Hi, everybody. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah.
Welcome to the Macaw Podcast universe. This is Micah and Jordan.
Well,
You decide which one's which.
I'm Micah,
Okay, I'm Jordan.
and we exist to prove people wrong when they say
Sequels are never better.
than the originals. And we are discussing a series that I am finding to be quite the delight, my friend. This series rocks and it rolls. And guess what? I'm putting the gauntlet on the table. I think that this movie we're covering today proves our tagline correct.
Yeah.
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, I think I like better than Planet of the Apes.
Wow.
It doesn't have that twist, but I think it's a little bit better of a movie, a little better story, and more interesting.
Hey, we'll talk about it.
But having said all of that, man, I just want to reiterate that my understanding of this series before covering it was that the new ones, there were some fans of, but they were still kind of like not super mainstream, although they did okay. I mean, mainstream, but not, like to Avengers level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just figured that all these sequels to the old movies were just retreads to some degree and just kind of spun out of control. But we've watched 4 of these now, and they all, at the very least, whether you like them or not, they attempt to do something so different. And I can't really think of many series that go this out of their way to attempt to do something so different each time.
Well, I think it does come down to the crazy great premise, as well as the movie starting 2,000 years in the future, which gives us so much time between when the 60s to when the future takes place to fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, it's just a very interesting premise that raises all of these interesting questions that we've seen them ask in these sequels.
Yeah.
Even the crazy one Beneath the Planet of the Apes was still like, I could have never fathomed that. And it was very, very entertaining.
Yeah. It's very fascinating because and maybe I'm just struggling to do it. We've been doing this podcast for like 5 years now. And yet I'm having a hard time thinking of another series that is this far away from retreading any of the previous movies.
Oh, gosh. I don't think any of them come this close.
Because usually a franchise, I think particularly now, they kind of do... They do kind of just like play the greatest hits in a way, where it's like you are doing something different. Like you put a couple of exclusive tracks on your greatest hits, but you got to play the greatest hits. It's like seeing a band that you like.
Well, I feel like with a lot of franchises, you have the same characters, and this series has had somewhat of the same characters, kind of. But it's like so sometimes when you get sequels, it's just like, what is going to challenge the crew that we're used to in this movie?
Yeah.
Who's going to be paired up with who to change the dynamic? I feel like that's what it is a lot of the time.
Yeah, very true.
But in this situation, it's so different.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm just like totally astounded, and
well, it's just like you know that in. That weird ideas are bounced around all the time for franchises when it's in the beginning phases of approaching the next movie.
Right.
And you know that there's always just crazy ones. Like even to think of like a comic book movie, like a Marvel movie, I'm sure when it gets to the beginning stages of a new one, it's like nothing's off limits, throw at anything. And it's like some writers like, I've always wanted to do this run. I've always liked this run. This one's weird. And then it gets whittled down to probably whatever is sometimes in current Marvel, how it feels, the safest.
Yeah.
But this one is like, there are no wrong answers and we will go with the craziest one, whether or not it makes money. Well, and they've made money.
And it is crazy because I can't remember if Paul Dehn wrote the first movie, but we have kind of the same writer like overseeing this franchise, even though it's changing hands in the director's table.
Yeah.
Let me see. Did he do... Let's see which Planet of the Apes he did, because I know he did the last several. Yeah, so he started with Beneath, and then he did Escape, Conquest, and Battle. So it's like...
the craziest ones so far.
Yeah, and I don't know. He just has a vision, because this series is crazy. And now here's what I also want to put out there. For those who are familiar with this franchise, you probably chuckled in our first couple episodes when I think I said what I thought was going to happen, because here's what I thought the franchise was. I thought it was Planet of the Apes 1, and then the 5 movies after it were all sequels chronologically.
Yeah.
And it was just like going into the future, and I thought that the apes progressively like started building skyscrapers and stuff like that. That's what I thought happened.
Yeah.
Which also sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then I thought that when they did these prequel movies, that was like the first time they'd gone into the past, the middle 2000 years. That's what I thought it was. I don't think
that's a crazy thought, because especially in the first movie, you have Dr. Zaius, who was censoring a lot of things. And it's like, it's almost like, in what ways will he be repeating human mistakes through his censorship? And that I could see you could go forward with that, where it's like, how do the apes make repeat history?
Yeah.
But yeah,
like in the Industrial Revolution movie, and then like the skyscraper movie, and then like the 80s movie. You know, like I thought that's what was going to happen. I mean, when I was like younger, I thought that the movies were like just, you know, crap retreads. But once I found out that they did something different, that's what I assumed happened.
Yeah.
And then now we're watching this movie, and a character gets introduced whose name is Caesar. And I know that Andy Serkis plays a character named Caesar in the prequel. So now I'm like, oh, is this like the original idea? And then the new movies are like another, you know, like a rewriting. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the new alternate canon or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, this movie posits some stuff that create kind of a closed loop situation. So maybe they do exist where they branch into a different... Anyway, we'll maybe get into that later.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. I kind of am throwing out some of my expectations for the prequel movies, because now I'm a little like, maybe they're not what I thought they were either.
Probably not.
Yeah. But God bless the people who cut that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer, because
it's time we covered this, and that was the push we needed.
Yeah. So, did you want to say anything else before I dive into who made it?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I didn't think so. J. Lee Thompson is the director of this movie. J. Lee Thompson, not J. Lee. And he directed Guns of Navarone, the original Cape Fear. And he's going to be the first director to direct 2 Planet of the Apes movies, because he's going to direct Battle for the Planet of the Apes, I think is what it's called. The writer is once again Paul Den. The cinematography is Bruce Surtees, who we talked about last year when we covered Dirty Harry.
Okay.
And then the music is by Tom Scott. Now, Tom Scott I want to talk about for a second, because pop culture-wise, I just learned a lot of stuff that I did not know that will probably make the listeners laugh.
This is the composer?
He's the composer. And he's a saxophonist, and he played in LA Express and the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
So when I saw the Blues Brothers, I thought, oh, that's interesting. And don't cut me off. I'm just going to say what I thought this was, okay? And then you tell me what you thought it was. I thought, oh, there must have been a band called the Blues Brothers, and then the Blues Brothers movie is like maybe some sort of parody on that, or they just kind of took the name. So wait, that's what I thought when I read this.
Isn't it a sketch?
Hang on. So then I clicked on it, and I found out. Well, okay, so that's just what I thought it was. What is your understanding of the Blues Brothers?
Isn't it a sketch that they turned into a movie?
So,
but not SNL, right? Or is it?
Okay, great. So you're wrong too.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought like maybe there was a band, the Blues Brothers, like the Allman Brothers or something, and then there was the movie, the Blues Brothers. That's what I thought.
But you know what I mean, right? How they turned sketches into movies?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what I found. I then went to the Blues Brothers Wikipedia. When I clicked on it, I thought it'd take me to another band, and it takes me to a picture of Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and it's about the Blues Brothers. And this is not the movie, The Blues Brothers.
Oh, okay.
So it says, the Blues Brothers are a fictitious American blues and soul revue band founded in 1978 by Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, who met and began collaborating as cast members of SNL. A common misconception is that the act also originated on SNL. The Bruise Brothers, however...
Bruise Brothers? Bruise Brothers!
Was an independent project of Belushi and Aykroyd, first appearing as the opening act for comedian Steve Martin.
Wow, okay.
Martin later,
like this little bit of comedy history.
Yeah, Martin later appeared on SNL as host, and the Blues Brothers appeared as musical guests.
Okay, can we watch that?
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
That would be fun.
I wonder if they have that episode of...
Yeah.
Let's try to remember that tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just filled in so many... questions I didn't know I had.
Yeah. Thanks.
But yeah. And then this guy, Tom Scott, he also has done lots of TV and TV movies, composer. But if you look at his, IMDb, he's played with, everybody. He's on, recordings of everybody. And he is, one of the saxophone players of popular music. So, pretty wild, because there's also, no sax in this score.
Yeah.
So he just did something different, which is cool. This movie comes out June 14th, 1972. It has...
we're barely in the 70s.
That's I know, crazy. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So, this movie is 20 years in the future of, their time.
Yeah.
The people who are watching it, which is weird, too. It has a $1.7 million budget, and that is the lowest budget of all Planet of the Apes movies, period.
Question.
Yeah.
With the first movie, when they went on their space mission, what year was it? Was it the 60s?
I think they came back to 1970 something.
Well, I know they came back to, but what was Charlton Heston's year?
Oh, the year that he traveled from?
Yeah.
It was the late 60s, 1965
it was
or something
the 60s?
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when
Cornelius,
Zira and Cornelius came back in...
Oh, yeah, they were all asking them.
Yeah, they knew who Taylor was.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, this has 1.7 lowest budget of all Planet of the Apes movies. And it made $9.7 million, which is good on that budget, but not to the heights of...
Sorry, what was the budget?
1.7.
Okay.
So, now I'm going to read, much like our Beneath the Planet of the Apes movies, I have a lot of just stuff to read because I know that we're both weirdly more invested in this franchise now than Star Wars at this point. I'm Planet of the Apes freaking rules. So, Thompson, this director, he worked with Arthur P. Jacobs, who is the main producer on all of these movies, these original movies. And they worked together in 1963 to make Planet of the Apes, the first movie.
Okay.
But they wrote a 5-page draft and submitted it to Fox, and Fox was like, no, we're not making this. And so at that point, he stepped away from the movies. But then he reportedly turned down Beneath the Planet of the Apes to direct, allegedly because of a script. But then he goes on to say, quote, Arthur has always offered me the Apes films. Schedules clashed until now. I feel a very lucky man to be able to do it late in the day as it is. So then he has this huge quote about the colors and themes of this movie and what he was going for, which
give me.
You're going to love. So both the stylistic and thematic concept is that the film should give a feeling of a state that is under domination by a growing dictatorship. The people, the ordinary civilians in the film, are very colorless. The only colorful people in the film are the apes, who wear red, green, and yellow. None of the sets are overcolored. One is putting over a police state where, in truth, color falls from the lives of the people. But I must add this. One has to bear in mind very carefully the public you're making it for. It's no good making a tremendously stylish picture. One mustn't try too hard to come away from the main objective of the film, which is entertainment. You may be stylistically pleasing the critics, but in the net run, what we're trying to do here is entertain the fans of the Planet of the Apes pictures. So, I have to find a medium between keeping to a certain style and yet giving the public what they expect from a Planet of the Apes film. I don't know what to expect from any Planet of the Apes film, buddy, so you do whatever you want. The look is one of austerity. In the camera, one builds the police into almost demigod-like figures and the public as mere shadows. Their lives are ordered about by loudspeaker systems who tell them to leave the streets at any given moment. Demonstrations are allowed, but only for so many minutes. So we are running, parallel with the story of the ape uprising, a story of police state dominance.
Oh, so it's like this police state / dictatorship has as it has before in history, risen basically without the people realizing it.
Yeah.
They're thinking like, we still have rights, we still have freedom.
Yeah.
But if they take a second to think about it, it's not that way.
Yeah. And what I liked about him saying that the civilians are shadows, I thought that was really interesting because I didn't even clock that, but when he said it, it was like, oh yeah, the civilians were like, they were in the movie, but you don't remember how any of them look or what any of them do.
Just the main governor and his right-hand guy.
But he's not a civilian. You know, he's part of the police state.
True. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I remember that lady who kept saying Frank about trying to get the light, but you know, there's nothing interesting that she's doing or doing. So continuing on, he says, color has been taken out of the film to a degree. We have not gone so far as to desaturate the color in the lab, but it is a possibility we have talked about, but we won't do that. We photograph it as it actually appears. The people do not wear colored clothes, no vivid colors. It is in that respect that we give it this rather cold, dehumanized look.
Nailed it.
Cool.
Did you find anything about filming location?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Honey, I got you covered.
Okay.
So next up, we have Paul Den. He did explicitly say that he was highlighting the racial conflicts of the early 1970s. Yeah. And Thompson is highlighting that by shooting it kind of as if it was a broadcast news.
Okay.
Which makes sense because it's very, like, the climax of the movie and a lot of those shots are not necessarily like these beautiful landscape shots. It's just kind of like run and gun, like fly on the wall.
Yep.
Not like the most like beautifully composed.
Right. Yeah.
But that's intentional.
Yeah.
So if you thought the movie was cool before, now you think it's even cooler.
True.
They shot this mostly in Century City, LA. Okay. And if you look at a picture of it, it looks like this movie. And then I'm sure they're dressing the sets. I mean, this is also years ago, so I don't know how, but does it look pretty much the same? Jordan's looking up the photo right now. He's looking up Century City.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, I mean, it's concrete and there are buildings.
Yeah. Very cold looking.
Yeah.
And then they also shot some of it at the University of California in Irvine.
Okay.
So then here's something freaking else that I think you're going to love. There was an alternate opening to this movie.
Alternate opening, okay.
And there was an ape that was escaping, and the police shoot him and kill him. They go up to him. He has scars and bruises all over him.
It's kind of like what they mentioned.
I think it was
that situation. Okay.
And they're like, oh man, this guy, he must have attacked his owner, and that's why he has so many things. So that's like how it started. But it sounds like they did shoot the ending. Like someone who worked on the film said they did, or the opening. But it like isn't. We don't know where it is.
Okay.
And it's not on like Blu-rays when they've like re-upped the thing. So we don't know where it is. But
why'd they take it out?
And that we also don't know. That specifically in the notes I saw, like it's unknown why the opening was cut. But beyond that, there was an alternate ending to this movie.
Was the ending more because Caesar has his big speech, and the people are like, "Okay, we're gonna kill this guy. We're just gonna do it." And then that other chimp was like, "No," and he kind of realized like, how different would we be if we killed this person? Does that not happen? Essentially,
it doesn't.
Okay,
so you can watch the original ending that they have released.
Okay,
and Caesar finishes his speech, and they beat the governor to death, and the movie ends.
Yikes.
And that's like the last thing he says is that speech.
Yeah.
Without the compassionate part.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I didn't notice this, but you know when the guerrillas like lift their rifles, so they're just playing footage backward because they were actually pushing the rifles down to beat him in that shot.
Oh, okay.
And then the shots where he's giving the second part of the speech that talks about humanizing and like we can rule better. A lot of it is cutting around his mouth.
Because they added it later?
They didn't have the budget to shoot this again.
Oh, so why did they change it?
Well, they did a test screening.
Oh, yeah.
And the producers were like, let's change it. So Roddy McDowell records this new little speech at the end, and they just cut around it, which actually to me is just focusing on the intensity of his eyes. And I think it actually works to me, because I thought when we got to the end of this movie, I'm like, or are they going to kind of do what like a movie would do now, which is like really sugarcoat this ending? And it didn't feel coated to me. I think because of the way it was edited, because it kept cutting back to the scientist. Is he a scientist? I think so, yeah. And him. And there was this look, which now I know is because this wasn't... The
assistant?
Yeah, the assistant. And now I know it's because they never shot the ending to have this compassionate speech, where it almost has this feeling of like, yeah, I'm going to say this today. I'm going to say we're going to rule with compassion, but tomorrow I'm not going to do it. That's like how I read the ending of the movie.
That's how you read it. Okay.
That's how it felt to me, and
Full
how
disclosure,
it was edited.
I was trying my hardest not to fall asleep, and it's not because of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just being a parent of a baby. And you get in this certain position on the couch that you shouldn't get in because it makes you
bad
sleepy.
Position.
So I had a real hard time with this last section of the movie, and I will just say that now.
Okay.
But it's not the movie.
Yeah. It was.
So you'll have to do some heavy lifting on that part, because I did catch it, but I think a lot of the implications I slept through.
Uh-oh.
I wasn't actually sleeping, but
But yeah, you're
was
like
so
a
tired.
little glazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will cover it, because I have a lot to say about that ending, because it freaking ripped.
Uh-huh.
And then I have one last thing. So this is something.
Wait. So do you prefer the alternate ending or the one that we got?
Well, I tend to like what the filmmaker like originally intends to do, but I do think that their intent was the producers to possibly sugarcoat the ending a little bit. But having not known anything about the original ending and any of that, when I watched it, I felt that him talking about the compassion rang hollow, and I feel like the intention of the original ending is still there.
I feel like whether or not he meant it, I think it actually would be interesting to let's take it as at face value that he meant it. Like he saw the error of what he was saying when the other chimp was like, no, and he's like, yeah, you're right. Actually, we will do better, and he honestly believed it. But we know what happens in the future,
and that's probably guiding my head too.
The roles just literally flip. The humans become slaves.
Yeah,
and it's seeing like how it got twisted and mutated over centuries.
Yeah. So as much as like that other ending's a little more graphic, because you see, I mean, you don't actually see them hitting his body, but you're seeing these gorillas kill someone. I do think the ending that they have, maybe I like it more, because it's almost like there's almost a debate of like, what are they going to do next? Is he going to change?
It does make me really interested in the next movie.
I'd love to see perhaps like a battle for this planet at this point.
I would like to see a battle.
Yeah. And I'd also like to see maybe a rise, a dawn, a war, and then possibly a kingdom. I wouldn't want to see another straight planet, but maybe we'll just do that in case. So one thing, and I totally clocked this, so it's nice to see that the writer is actually doing this intentionally, because I'm like, ooh, and this is before people were doing this really, so this is pretty exciting. He has this to say. The whole thing was a very logical development in the form of a circle. I have a complete chronology of the time circle mapped out, and when I start a new script, I check every supposition I make against the chart to see if it is correct to use it. While I was out there in California, Arthur Jacobs said he thought this would be the last, so I fitted it together so that it fitted with the beginning of Apes 1, so that the wheel had come full circle and one could stop there quite happily, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, that is my notes on Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
So for actors, we have Roddy McDowall returning, who has played Cornelius. Natalie Trundy, who was in the last movie. She was the other scientist lady.
Okay.
She plays Lisa, the chimp Lisa.
Oh, okay.
In this movie.
Okay.
Governor Breck is played by Don Murray. He is also in Bus Stop, Knots Landing. Peggy Sue got married.
What is that?
Twin Peaks.
The one
the
that's
movie.
Is Peggy Sue Got Married the John Hughes movie? Or am I getting it mixed up with something?
Francis Ford.
Oh, right. What am I thinking of? Curly Sue is what I'm thinking of. Which I think is John Hughes' first movie or second movie. Anyway, please go ahead.
And then Ricardo Montalban was in the last movie as Armando.
Okay, Ricardo Montalban. So he's Wrath of Khan, isn't he?
Is he Khan? He is.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
It's funny. I've never seen that movie, and yet when I saw him in this movie, I thought, oh, yeah, that's the guy. That's Ricardo Montalban. I forgot his name, but I was thinking
He's also
that's
in The
Wrath
Naked
of Khan.
Gun.
Okay.
I don't think we covered him last time.
I don't think we did. I didn't think we thought he was
got a voice
as
I could listen
significant.
to forever.
Yeah.
And then Harry Rhodes plays McDonald, the assistant.
Yeah.
He's in Shock Corridor, Coma, The Streets of San Francisco, Murder Without Motive.
I recognized him, but I could not place him.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I recognized his voice. I want to look him up.
Can't help you.
But keep
Stephen
going.
Darden plays Culp. He's like the doctor that was interviewing Armando.
Yeah.
He is also in Real Genius, Saturday the 14th. What?
They went up to the 14th, huh?
This? A family
No.
inherits an old mansion which houses the dangerous book of evil that has all the monsters of the world trapped inside it. So when are we watching this? It's got a Metascore of 13.
Never. How about never?
But it feels like we have a house situation on our hands. What's that one Japanese movie?
Oh, yeah, House. No, we don't.
we just simply don't have time.
I don't want to watch it.
Anyway, that's about it on people on our cast.
I guess I have never seen this guy in something else, but it was like I recognized his voice and his face for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe he's come to me in dreams.
He comes to you at night.
So the movie begins, and we are in 1991 North America.
I can barely remember it because I wasn't alive.
Yeah, 2 years before.
For you. Well, kind of for me too.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're just like introduced. It's just... It's pretty wild because, the first two movies, you have this like this twist at the end where you're like, what is happening? And then the last two movies have like the twist at the beginning where it's like the whole movie you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
They've really kept the surprising element in all four of these movies.
Yeah.
So starts off and we're at what we'll later find out is like an immigration area. It's ape control.
And they're training a bunch of apes.
Yeah, but I think at first you're just seeing kind of like images that are like, what is happening?
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Because you're just seeing all these police like beating on these apes.
Shoving them, forcing them to go certain directions. And But slowly through the scene, we see, by the way, again, great credit sequence, which was just during this whole part. And I can probably just so wrong, but it just feels like during this time in movie history, they did not economically use credits in this way. Like they took the time away from the movie to show us the credits on like a black screen or with a little bit of something some art thing. You know what I mean? The last movie too was very like,
I think 60s and 70s is when that starts changing into like, let's get the story going. Wow.
Okay.
We're showing.
Okay. But yeah,
credits.
So the credits are going while this is happening, but we're seeing all the gorillas wear red.
I think it was red. Yeah.
All the chimps wear green and all the orangutans wear orange.
Yeah.
/ yellow, orange.
I think it was, yeah.
Well, what's interesting, so I don't know if this was something that was thought of
I mean, they thought about the colors quite a bit.
I know.
What you're about to say, I think they did.
Can you double check in like Planet of the Apes, the second one, what the gorillas wore, what color? Because in Planet of the Apes 1 and 2, the chimps were green and the orangutans were orange. And it's just interesting that we're, technically in the past and they're wearing these colors that they just wear like they've worn in the future.
Yeah.
And to me, it almost feels like these roles that were essentially assigned to them, they kind of carried over throughout history. Can't say I can really only say that for the chimps.
So what was the color the gorillas wore in this movie?
I think red.
Okay, so in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, they have like purple and black.
I thought it was purple. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really just the chimps. Well, and the orangutans. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in this movie, we don't really see the orangutans do anything. They're really not much of it, which I think is so interesting because they become like the top ape.
Yeah.
Intelligence wise. The chimp feels like the everyman.
Yeah,
and then the gorillas just feel like the big guys. Yeah, brutes.
Now here's something I gotta throw out there. I don't know how far the depths of the ape classification and monkey and
like intelligence levels.
No. What like if you talk to a zoologist, like how I don't know if like every baboon or whatever is an ape, and I don't know if
sure.
Like a rectangle's a square, but a square's not a rectangle kind of thing. I don't know how the classification goes down.
Right.
But I simply
they're all
must.
marsupials, isn't that what it is? Did I just say the dumbest thing in the world?
No, they're mammals.
Yeah, but what's please edit this out.
No,
please,
I'm not editing this
please
out.
Edit this
a marsupial's like a kangaroo,
yeah, I know,
a wombat.
I know, please
you
edit
knew
this
that.
out.
I'm not editing it out. I'm not editing it out. But
I know it's a mammal. We're a mammal, but what? They're simian.
Simian, yeah, that's what it is. But I
the
don't
simians,
know what
anthropoids, or higher primates are an infra-order of primates containing all animals traditionally called monkeys and apes.
All animals. So can you look up if a baboon is a simian for me, please? Now I'm starting to think like are marsupials in the mammal family? Because that'd be funny.
Well, they are. They are mammals, Micah. You know what a mammal is. A mammal has hair.
Well, and they breastfeed,
gives birth. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that part of it?
They give birth. They don't give birth. That's not an egg.
Now the roles are reversed. Who's messing up now? But yeah.
Okay, this is a little confusing.
You're talking baboons,
This
right?
is just a simple Google, by the way, people.
Yeah.
Do not text either of us about this. This is a command.
Actually, text me. I'm curious about
Baboons
this.
are members of the genus Pepio within the family Cerso, the old world monkeys. Apes are members of either the family Hyblopitidae, the lesser apes, or Hominidae, the great apes. Both members of the superfamily Hominoidea. So baboons are not apes.
They're not? Okay. Well, then it's okay. But I was really hoping that...
But they're considered monkeys.
Oh.
Okay, are primates and simians the same?
Okay. We're getting to the real meat of it now.
Primates are a diverse order of mammals. They are divided into the strepsirrhines, which include the lemurs, galagos, lorisids, and the haplorhines, which include the tarsiers and the simians. Monkeys and so you have primates, and from primates you have simians.
Gotcha. Okay, so then I won't. So if a baboon is not a primate, and I'm talking about the baboons with the colorful asses, then it's okay. But I was hoping that there would be like a Mufasa character in maybe like War of the Planet of the Apes. It's like leading a tribe of baboons, because I would love to see that. And now you mentioned lemurs. I mean, maybe there should be, maybe Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to be about, the greater simians fighting the lesser primates.
The old world ones.
I mean, boy, I'd pay twice for that ticket. A lemur fight? Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for answering that, Jordan. And
Okay, so the chimps seem to be trained to perform more cleaning based tasks / delivery, like carrying boxes and running errands for their owners.
Yeah.
Gorillas seem to do more. Well, they seem to do a little bit more heavy lifting stuff, but they were also cleaning.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I just was trying to figure out if they were making certain species do more certain things.
Yeah.
But it did seem like only gorillas cleaned shoes.
Yeah.
And picked up trash. And then chimps were running errands.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there were some gorillas though who were waiters as well as some chimps. Never really saw what an orangutan did other than the one in like the bookstore.
Yeah.
That was doing that stuff.
And then, I mean, they're by all the knowledge. They're by the books. And the orangutans become the knowledgeable. No, that's too much of a stretch. But okay, now one more thing. Do you remember at the end of the last movie what the name of Caesar was? Because it was not Caesar yet.
Had they not named?
I thought that they named him something, and I thought it was not Caesar, but maybe I'm incorrect. Because when I was seeing that these movies were coming, I was looking them on
Milo.
Okay, I was looking them up on Letterboxd, and they said
Milo because
Caesar.
of their friend that died.
Okay. But yeah, I read that Caesar was in this, and so I didn't connect that it was this character. Okay, so we meet Armando. He comes in a helicopter, and he has a chimp with him, who we know.
Wait, why did he come in a helicopter?
That I thought about, and I was like, just don't think about it.
Just not thinking about that. It's 1991. It's the future. People transport via helicopters. We didn't see a single car in this movie, I think.
No, I don't think so.
And really, the sets did feel very one area, just shot at different angles.
Well, it was,
and I think it like you read in the quote, it is supposed to make it kind of feel like, I think you think of like a communist area where it is just concrete.
Yep,
it's all the same. So that's not a dig.
I think this is a wonderful example of a low budget movie that looks like a low budget movie, but it helps with the story and vibe so much that like if you said the movie was $10 million, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it goes both ways, and
totally.
I love that. So,
he has a ape with him.
We know it's
attached
Milo.
to a leash. Yeah, I didn't clock that it was Armando at first.
Yeah.
Even after they said his name, I was like, I don't know who that is. So it took me a second to remember.
It was funny because I was like, I recognize this guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I have the circus or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I recognize him because we just watched a movie where he's in this series.
So did they come here just to pass out flyers for their circus?
See,
okay.
This is the only element of the movie that is a little weak, in my opinion, because it's like he comes in on a helicopter.
I think they could
go to the city,
sat down for a little bit longer, and I've figured out something.
Yeah, and then they're like handing out flyers, and I almost feel like
because it's also
maybe
like,
there's a cut.
I do. It is a pretty big criticism though, because to bring his one chimp who is a intelligent speaking chimp that no other ape speaks.
Yeah.
To just bring him into basically in the belly of the beast and to seemingly just pass out flyers. Is pretty weak.
Well, it seems like there's maybe like a cut line or something where it's like we're actually here because we wanted to see if things have gotten this bad or like
because they're not part of society. They basically have been hiding from society.
Yeah, and the way they're handing out flyers, and the way Armando's looking around, like he's acting like he's actually there. Wait, hang on.
No,
he's acting like he's there with an ulterior motive, this is a cover.
Yeah, it's almost like they forgot the line.
Now you can go.
Sorry, I'm excited. It's like they forgot the line where Armando's like he has heard about what's happening. How apes have become slaves, and he is passing out these flyers to his circus that are coded in such a way that's like. To apes, not that apes can read, but like to such a way that's like, come here to this meeting place on this date to where we will all start planning an uprising. Something like that.
And then we get reminded of there's a statue of a little dog and a cat, and we get reminded that there was a virus that wiped all of them out.
That was brought from another, like there was a space mission that came back.
Jordan.
What?
Did you doze?
Oh, was our from the last movie?
So here's what happened, and he says that that Zira and Cornelius brought the virus. Now
okay, wait, can we just say something about that?
Yeah,
they do not ever do that in science fiction movies anymore at all, and I know part of it is that's a weed situation unless you want your whole movie to be about that.
Except for life does this, which is very cool.
But there's so much stuff in sci-fi things where it is like. There's a carelessness to it, unless the sci-fi world takes place in far enough in the future where all of this stuff is already figured. I know I'm getting crazy with it. I know.
Yeah.
But it's just cool that there were real world consequences.
Yeah.
About this stuff.
So here's where I want to lay out something. So when I heard that, I was like, what? Or he may have just said it came from astronauts. I think he said it came from Cornelius and Zira. And either way, I think we can assume it came from them, no matter what he said. Now, here's where it's wild. And I think this is wild because it's 1972. This story happens now, and this is like a common like time travel loop.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
But what's cool is this posits that Cornelius, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it is a paradox, the Planet of the Apes universe. Do you know what I mean?
Because they have to come in order for this to happen.
Exactly.
And if they never came, this would have never happened. Oh, because they brought the virus.
They brought
and if
the virus.
Never come at all. Okay.
So them coming back brings the virus that then kills all the dogs and cats, which makes humans want another pet, which becomes the primates, and then the simians. And then the simians take over. And then they find this guy, Taylor, and then he finds, this other mutant society, and then they destroy the entire Earth. So that's why I kind of feel like this creates this loop, and potentially Rise of the Planet of the Apes, maybe that movie is like, what if the astronauts never came? And it still was like destined to happen or something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay.
And the series seems too nerdy for them to not acknowledge that there's a history or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, cannot wait to see what that even means.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's why Paul Den said the thing where he's like, it is a circle. So we're in this circle. This tall guy with a hat.
The guy across the street. It's our goth neighbor.
Oh, okay, cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think for the time, that is a cool idea. Now, I think we talked about this in Back to the Future or maybe Terminator or something. I am kind of ready for someone to come up with like a new take on time travel.
We probably weren't saying it in either of those movies as a criticism, though, because those are like prime examples of it.
Oh, you know what? It was freaking Deadpool 2 I was talking about.
Yeah, that makes
where
sense.
I was like, you know what? I'm a little tired of this trope.
Yeah.
Well, and then I did bring up that Tenet, although Nolan says it's not a time travel movie, it is. That movie is a kind of a fresh take on it because it's reversing and going back and forth instead of like
I don't have the bandwidth to talk about.
No.
The
I know you hate that movie.
I don't hate that movie. I don't hate it.
I'm just saying it was a different take on it that I thought was interesting, but it does still kind of do the time travel thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I do think, and I know we've talked about it before, but this goes into multiverse stuff. It's almost like, in a way, we were so heavy into time travel that the next thing was multiverses.
Yeah.
And we have played that to freaking death. A movie won a Best Picture for it. We've explored it so extensively. It's time to move on from that now, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
And I love Everything Everywhere. That's no shade thrown in that movie. I just think we've reached the zenith, and now it's time to just explore other avenues of a theory.
Yeah. And sorry I said you hated it. It's just anytime I bring it up on the podcast, you're like, shut up, I don't want you here to talk about it.
Yeah, well, shut up, I don't want to talk about
it. Okay. Actually, anytime I talk about it ever in any reference, you're like, shut up, I don't want to talk about it. So
shut up, I don't want to talk about it.
I think it's pretty safe to assume you at least don't like the movie and think it's kind of bad.
I don't think it's I can't say it's a bad movie because you got Robert Pattinson wearing that scarf. But I don't think I like it.
Yeah, and that's okay.
It just feels sad and wrong for me to say I don't like a Christopher Nolan movie.
That's fine.
I didn't really like Insomnia when we watched it either.
Well, yeah, but that's like the least Nolan movie, you know. So, back to Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, a movie that's better than Insomnia, right? Can we admit that?
Yeah.
So we see another aspect of this that I think is very interesting is human waiters who are picketing, and they're picketing like that.
Oh, they're waiters?
Yeah, they're lost our jobs.
Oh, I think I missed that.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
And they're like, hire humans, not monkeys. And they have signs that are like, waiters should be human and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they're taking jobs.
They're taking their jobs. That's pretty interesting.
Interesting.
And like the director said, it's like they have designated time because it's like the picketing will have to disperse at a certain time. So the government is making it feel like, yes, we are giving you these rights, but we're really not.
There is one thing I wanted to say, though, about that. I think you got to give some credit to the humans. they're doing bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree on that, Micah? We've been fighting this whole episode, but do you think we can agree on that?
Yes, we can agree on that.
Thank goodness. It would have been real awkward if you didn't. But you can give them credit on one thing. They are dedicated to making this work because throughout the whole movie, you just have the humans yelling, no, stop, move. Like we kind of sometimes have to tell Gilmore all the time because he's just standing literally in front of us trying to trip us and kill us. And
it did make me kind of think like maybe ease up on Gilmore when you get upset that he's in your way.
Yeah. He is trying to trip us though constantly.
Yeah.
But they are dedicated to making this whole pet slavery thing work.
Yeah, they really are.
When the whole movie they're just yelling and it's like, man, just imagine living in this society where people are just shouting, no, do all the time.
Yeah. All right. So during that whole thing where the waiters are striking, we then see this ape, Simeon, as we like to call it in this household, who is getting like beat up by the police. Starts getting beat up by the police.
Okay. Yes.
And that's when Caesar says, lousy human bastards.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the police are like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
And
then Armando covers for him and says, I said it.
Yeah, and they're like, you say it.
Yeah. We get into other funny territory story-wise for me, too. So this plays out.
Uh-huh.
It was me. I yelled it. There was another diversion. They continue to beat up the ape in custody, and they get away.
Uh-huh.
And they run away, and they're like in a stairwell, and Armando's like, okay, I'm going to go turn myself in. You wait here. And it's like, why? Can't you just leave? Why do you have to go turn yourself in? I understand that they're suspicious and stuff. But he's just like, let me just go do this thing. And I don't know. It just felt... It just felt like an action solely for the purpose of...
story.
Separating them. Yeah.
Well, I think he said he wants to... I think... If I'm just going by like the logic of the movie, I think he basically says like he wants to divert their suspicions that his ape can talk.
Yeah.
So if he like goes to them and is like, oh, I lost the ape and could kind of clear his name. I think that's his idea.
Yeah, I think I'm just surprised that this little incident got escalated so much that he's immediately meeting with the governor. And being interviewed by him.
That's no surprise to me because the governor is very concerned about what we know from the archives, which is that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Zira and Cornelius are like, there's an ape that says no, and that's who leads them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they're really worried about repeating history.
Yeah. So
okay,
I think it works.
Okay,
you might have to squint your eyes a little bit, but it works.
But that's what happens. Armando says, if I'm not back by nightfall, you go to the docks and pretend like you're an ape being brought in. Yeah,
so then so he talks to the governor, and Armando's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I had a circus, a circus, and we had the only chimpanzee born in a circus, as he was saying in the last movie as well. And he's like, what is he like? What is he saying to the governor? Sorry, I got a text at the same time. Someone walked by at the window, and I'm like, wait, what is happening right now?
Sorry. Now Gilmore's distracted me. He found the wasabi pea that fell.
He's had 2 wasabi peas today. I'm surprised by that.
Well, they're not very spicy.
But for a dog that doesn't have spicy food,
I'm saying they're not very spicy, the kind that is in the mix.
No, I know, but I mean, if you don't have any spice in your diet.
I'm saying like spicy, like not at all.
Okay. But so he talks...
Armando... is there to clear up some things. It's when we learn more from the governor. Like you said, they do play some of the tape from Zira and Cornelius. True. And basically they're like...
Wait, do they play some of the tape?
Yes,
they play the audio, yeah.
And they're basically like, we want to learn a little bit more about this. We're going to question you a little bit further. We do kind of learn that McDonald, his assistant, seems to... I mean, he is like, you guys are treating apes like slaves. I mean, he technically kind of also is because he's working for them.
Well,
but he's recognizing, like, you see that we're just treating like slaves, and I think that's around the time they mention that an ape had to be put down because
which was that cut scene.
An ape killed a person.
Yeah.
Which was that scene that was cut.
Now.
But then there was welts and bruises all over its bodies, and that's when McDonald's like, so he was provoked.
Yeah.
He wouldn't kill, because, they're like, apes are dangerous creatures, and he's like, they're dangerous if you provoke them to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, we need to be treating them with respect.
And I think he even says this much later, but doesn't he say like, my ancestors were slaves, and
I think so.
And so like I think it's when he's talking with Caesar at the very end.
Yeah.
And he's like, what you're doing could be just as bad.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool and quite a pointed like commentary that like it's this room full of white people and they're like, yeah, let's make the apes slaves, and there's one black person in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think this isn't a bad idea, because
mm-hmm.
he has the history.
Mm-hmm.
And there are like black policemen in the movie, I noticed, but he's the only black character of like note that has like lines and dialogue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it is interesting that he's like, this slavery is bad. I think that takes the
like it's intentional.
Yeah, like the commentary a step further.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with police.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I also think like,
well, that just reminded me of the ape that got killed, or the ape that kills another person. They're like, okay, well, that ape did one thing, so all apes are bad. And that is, not to get political, but directly conversations that we've heard, or news reports that we've heard of kind of throwing out a whole group of people, a whole demographic because of an action. And it's like, well, if you learned a little bit more about it, the incident was someone was provoked, X, Y, and Z, more. But
Well, it's like the classic thing when you hear about someone who gets killed and then a person of color gets killed, and then people are like, yeah, but they had a knife or they had a gun or something. It's like, yeah, but they shouldn't have been killed in the first place.
Yeah.
They're police with like assault rifles.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have had to kill him.
Right.
When you find out that they didn't fire the gun or they didn't like nothing, it's like, oh yeah, they had it in the glove box or something like that, where it's like, and that constitutes murder.
Mm-hmm. Or to say that you thought that a police officer thought that the person was reaching for a weapon when they never were.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely bananas. And you know what? We can get political because this is Planet of the Apes. You can't not get political and talk about Planet of the Apes, especially this one.
Yeah.
And I maybe I'm giving too much credit to the movie, but I do think there's something also in the movie because Armando is also a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there could be, you could stretch it maybe that he naively thinks he can go to the police and talk them out of this thing. Mm. And as is often the case with people of color, he gets wrapped up in something that if he was white, he could have probably just walked in and out.
That's interesting.
I think there's something there too.
Yeah.
Love this movie. It freaking rocks. It's so good.
So meanwhile,
folks, usually we'll like get movies from the library, we'll rent them, whatever, to watch these movies. And before this series started, I looked up like on Amazon, like the complete Planet of the Apes. It had all the movies except the Tim Burton one. Actually, it might have even had the Tim Burton one. And it was like $100. And I did the math to see how many movies we'd have to rent, to see. And I thought, oh yeah, we'll save like, $70 if we don't buy it. But now I'm like, I should have just bought it. Because I'm going to want to watch these movies again.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're great.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Meanwhile, Caesar sneaks onto the docks and is brought in as an ape slave and is faux assimilating into what's going on here. So then he's basically introduced to the prison system and is carted around showing how the apes are essentially tortured.
Yeah.
They're chained. They're blowing fire at them, and I think it's to get them desensitized to fire.
I mean, they're telling the story in 1972.
I know. They're electrocuting them.
Yeah.
Like electrotherapy is how it seems.
Uh-huh.
And there was something else they showed him, and I can't remember. But then they put him in a pen with other chimps, give him a banana, and he shares his banana with other chimps.
Yeah.
And then we see him kind of go through those training things where they're trying to teach them how to wash their hands, how to pour a glass of water from a pitcher. And all you see these apes struggling to do it, and he does it no problem. And you can see the reactions on the humans' faces of like, whoa.
And he's even
smart.
attempting to help
He is, yeah.
the other apes and stuff like that.
Yes. So him and like 3 other gorillas are selected as being higher forms, like intelligent and optimal for breeding. So they breed him with another chimp who is Lisa.
Yeah.
Who is in the next movie. Ends up becoming his wife.
How would we even know that, Jordan? We haven't watched the movie yet.
Because I'm an expert.
Wink, wink. Folks, we watched it in between records here.
So that was kind of funny when they showed her lounging back on a couch.
Yeah.
And it shows him and he's just kind of like, well, guess I got to do this. Yeah, and then it cuts to the next scene.
It was kind of funny. But then we have the slave auction where they're auctioning. Wait, did you have more for that?
No, I think that is, yeah.
Okay. And they're auctioning off Caesar. And I mean, again, you know,
this is
the metaphor and commentary, especially in reference to black people, is pretty strong here. When you see the auction block, it's like, yikes.
Yeah. This is when I really noticed that all the humans were wearing black. It was in this scene, which reminded me of Get Out. And I wonder if there was any fun correlation. Because remember, during the auction, everyone wears black at that party.
Oh, right.
All the people are wearing black. And I wonder if it's a nod to this movie.
Interesting.
Let's ask Jordan Peele someday.
I think that movie probably is actually because the people are buying... Well, spoilers for Get Out. The people are buying black people to use their bodies, so they're wearing black. Like, I think that symbolically, they are wearing black because they want to become black.
Oh. Really? You think it's just that? I think it's a nod to this movie, okay? I did think that the amounts were too low. So, you know, a while ago, the amounts of money that they're being sold for, much too low. And it reminded me of when we were covering Jurassic World
Fallen Kingdom.
and they're selling the dinosaurs for like $1 million. And I was like, that's too low for something that's extinct.
They sell the battle one for like $21 million. And the guys are like,
much too low.
My goodness.
And so this one, I think he sold for like $1,500. That's it.
Yeah.
Which I do actually, one thing that I do like about it is that this has become such a common thing. Yeah, no. It's almost like they're like growing on trees.
This is what I like too. This is more like
they're undervalued.
This is more like they would never spend more than that on an ape. It's just an ape. Who cares?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then again, if you're taking the analogy of like slavery in America and you know, the police and prison system and stuff, it's like, yeah, these are just numbers. These are just people of color. We don't care about them. Is like what they're also saying in this movie, commenting on. So I think I totally get what you're saying, because it's like,
no, but to talk about it now, it's like, no, that's intentional.
Yeah, it's not like Jurassic World where I think they just didn't think that through. An extinct dinosaur for $20 million? Come on. And he was the big seller of the night. And
they modified them to become weapons.
Yeah, but the other ones were selling for like 5, 1, 10.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the governor buys Caesar.
It probably costs more to make them.
Yeah. Oh, they're not making a profit off those. No.
Yeah. Anyway, can't believe they're going to make more Jurassic World
The
movies.
governor buys Caesar.
Yes.
The most intelligent ape.
And we have one of the badass scenes of the whole series.
When he chooses his name.
When he chooses his freaking name. Because the governor's like, here, we do this thing. And he shows him how to do it. He opens up like a book of names and he points. And then he's like, that's how you choose your name. Do. And Caesar he pretends like he doesn't know where it is. But we know he's intelligent. He goes to the seas. He points down. He puts his, is it a, yeah,
it's a finger.
It's a hand. It's fingers. Yeah, they're apes. I started thinking of animals and I'm like, is it a paw? Is it a hoof? It's a hand. They're simians like us. And, he puts it down. And
he points at Caesar, okay?
And it says Caesar.
You're really like going beat by beat.
I just love it too. And then the governor's like, oh, like a king. Caesar, a king. Okay.
And then they all ordered pizza. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was little though.
Do you remember what they talk about here though? Because I know that McDonald was showing Caesar how to make a drink.
Yeah, he was.
But what were they talking about? During that scene, Was that when they were talking about the person that was killed by an ape?
It may have been. It may have
Okay.
been. I didn't take that note, so I can't say for sure. But so then we have this other guy who's like the Inquisitor or something, and he's going to interrogate
Armando,
played by Ricardo Montalban, which is a fun name to say.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts him in the Authenticator. And
I really wish we could have seen how it worked if he lied.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's powerless to do so.
Was that the thing?
Yeah, it like forces you to tell the truth.
Oh, okay. I guess I just would have liked a better illustration. It was fine.
You may have shut your eyes for a second or two.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. It's crazy. Like watching these movies, sci-fi and all that. I'm like this one in particular, like especially the portrayal of the bad guys. I was kind of like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like A New Hope and like the Imperials a little.
Sure.
bit.
No, I get that.
Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And the very stark, like obviously color-coded bad guys, color-coded good guys, that sort of thing. And but it's like, oh, this movie comes out 5 years before Star Wars.
Wow.
Like that's crazy because you almost look at anything science fiction that comes out and you're like, oh, I wonder how much Star Wars influenced this.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you don't, but it's like that's a
I actively
thing
don't.
that goes through my head, because it's so influential.
Yeah.
Whether it be designs,
Micah,
or whatever.
it's not a science fiction. It's a fantasy. Star Wars is fantasy.
That is what I believe. Yes, it's not really science fiction. But anyway, all that to say, it's like, oh, maybe this movie influenced, maybe this series influences Star
George
Wars.
Lucas, yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sure. And hey, if we're going batting average, so far this series is better in total than Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of the Star Wars movies better than any of these single movies. But I mean, so far we're, 5 for 5 on these bad boys. So
Armando's being questioned a little bit further. They're kind of like, you're good to go. You sign these documents, you can leave. But we did just want to ask you one more question. And just, for clarity's sake, we're going to use
we're going to use the Authenticator.
We're going to use the Authenticator. I mean, you've been lying this whole time, so why should it be a problem?
And we're sitting there, you and I, and we pause it and we go, wouldn't it be cool if this guy came back and he was a leader of, I don't know, like the mutants or something like that?
But not the Marvel X-Men mutants.
No. We're talking Beneath the Planet of the Apes mutants. That's what we said. We just thought that. Anyway, go ahead.
So they asked, what do they ask him? Does your ape talk, basically?
Something along those lines.
Basically, if you've been lying. And he's, he's been lying to them.
And like, where did you hear the name Cornelius or some other stuff like that?
Yeah. But of course, he could have heard it any time.
Yeah.
And they find out he had been lying. So things are not going to go well for him. So what does he do but jump out a window to his death? Didn't know that was a window, so that was shocking.
A big shock.
And Caesar comes outside during his job, takes a break, or I don't know, doing something, and finds Armando dead.
Yeah.
And man, Roddy McDowell, the acting,
this performance is
crazy,
bonko good.
So when this movie started, I didn't remember that that's the same actor as Cornelius, Cornelius, who has done the other movies except for one of them.
He was not in Beneath.
Yeah. And it's just crazy. They got such good people because I mean, the makeup's great, and there's a lot of it, but you really have to act through it. You know what I mean? And Zira, I forget the lady who played Zira already.
Yeah.
Just because her name didn't pop up on this movie, and I just can't remember. But she was like always my favorite. She was acting so wonderfully and hard through that makeup, and then. Cornelius's character to me always felt a little weak, and not written weak, just like she was strong.
Yeah,
and he was always trying to hold her back out of fear.
Yes.
And so
to see him do this.
Yeah, it's fun to see him do something like this.
He's got range.
So when he's like crying and stuff, man, heavy stuff.
Yeah, this performance, let's just say it's a powerhouse performance. Because he has to do so much with his looks. And there were some shots.
It's mostly just the eyes is all you can do.
Yeah. And he has so much anger in his eyes. It is a really good. Roddy, You're good. You good. Okay, so Caesar looking at the apes to stop working. Oh yes, I loved this. So all of a sudden we just start. So Caesar finds out Armando died. He looks at that poster, right, that sees him on the circus, and he's crying. Mm-hmm. And so then he starts
like a montage.
We have this montage, and it just shows like apes doing something, and then the camera goes to McDowell, and it usually zooms in
Caesar,
and he'll just either nod his head or just look at them. And I'm telling you,
is he kind of narrating over this?
No, there's no dialogue on this scene.
Okay.
And then the ape will do something like steal a knife or like
ruin the shoes that he's shining,
stuff like that. And you're like, he's bringing the apes together. He's causing revolt. And it's funny because I think you kind of giggled, which I think is a fair assessment.
I do think that this montage could have been shot better.
But there was something about it.
I do like the spirit of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. I just think it was a hard, like, mourning the loss of his caretaker to immediately just giving a simple look at an ape and they do something and there wasn't much context. Like, yes, I've seen him help other apes a little bit, but I didn't see other apes really come to like trust him, almost like he was some savior.
Yeah.
And not even in an animalistic way. They didn't really do much of that either. So that's
like totally fair. My argument against it is it worked 100% for me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Every time it like turned, it made me want to be like, let's break something, dude. Let's go.
Micah did trash our house like a monkey.
And I was saying ooh and ah. Yeah. So then during all of that, the governor and his cronies, they find out that they figure out that Caesar got onto that shipment and fake came in. So they're like, okay, we found him.
Chimps apparently don't come from Borneo.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Yeah, that was cool. Where is Borneo?
I don't know.
Because any place that is home to orangutans is a place I'd like to be. Could you imagine seeing one of them in the wild?
That would be so cool.
They're just like the
also
coolest.
A little scary though.
Yeah.
I don't know about orangutans, how dangerous they are. They just look like they can just cradle you.
Yeah.
To sleep.
Well, and once again, I'm gonna remind you of maybe it might turn out to be my favorite shot of the Planet of the Apes movies is in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes when he throws the meat to the human.
I think it's a couple of apples.
Oh, whatever it is. And I'm assuming that might be Dr. Zaius, maybe. That's my guess.
I don't think we're that far enough.
I don't know.
Future
I can't wait though. But I love seeing.
Also, they're not wearing clothes yet. I know that they might have made creative choices differently.
I gotta see this movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
I just love when he throws it though. Anyway, yeah, those and gibbons I think are my favorite primates. Primates? Is a gibbon a simian? I bet it is.
I don't know.
Because I would love to see gibbons in these movies. So, gibbons are not simians, but it says gibbons are apes. But
what is?
I'm very confused by this. But it is just kind of funny because this says more specifically they are classified as small apes because you guessed it, they are smaller than the great apes, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos.
Yeah, Bono.
Orangutans.
You've never heard of the bonobos before?
No, I don't know what a bonobo is. I thought that was. I thought that was
Is that what made you laugh? The name?
Yeah. Oh, and it just brought up a bunch of underwear. I wrote bonobos, and it's just a bunch of guys modeling underwear.
I apparently looked up. So I looked up the monkey, and it shows the first image. Did it show you the same thing? Two of them mating.
No,
that's powerful.
No, this is what it showed me.
Well, no, I know, but when you type in monkey with it.
Okay, let's see. Wow, they're getting to it. It's just a big smile. Mating in the pond. Good for them. Okay.
Pygmy chimpanzee.
What'd you say?
It's also considered a pygmy chimpanzee.
Oh,
a bonobo.
Well, so, and also for those of you who don't know, we just went on a weird tangent. Scott Aukerman has a podcast, Are You Talking U2 to Me, where he talks about U2. And him and Adam Scott do it, and he refers to Bono as bonobos. And I always thought he just like strung together a bunch of syllables, bonobos. But he's calling him a monkey. It's even funnier now. Oh, okay.
Borneo is an island in Asia.
But like, do you know ish where?
Wow.
Just like a general, like what are some countries that's nearby?
I'm trying to find that out.
Are you on Google Maps?
No.
Oh,
kind of.
Because then you could just zoom out.
Shut
it. I gotta study my geography again.
The world's third largest island. So it's Indonesia.
Okay. I need to get with Miss Swope again and start working on my geography.
Yeah.
Okay. So since they track down Caesar, they're then able. He's in the. I can't remember how they capture him, but he's in the system. Yeah, and they know who he is. Yeah, but So then they get Caesar and they start torturing Caesar. And
orangutans, of course, can be dangerous, but they're not aggressive.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Could you do you ever just dream of being held by one?
I just told you I wanted to be cradled by one.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was a lifetime ago. For something. Anyway, so they're torturing Caesar and they're like, "Speak, monkey, speak." And then he says, "Have mercy," because he's getting tortured so bad.
Or I thought have pity.
No, he said have mercy.
Who says this?
Caesar, when he's getting tortured.
I think he says have pity.
He definitely says have mercy.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because he's
I'm just trying to send you this picture of orangutan.
Okay, I see Jordan has a big smile on her face as we're talking about him. Yeah, dude, look at this guy. He is so cool. I also found out that there is an orangutan emoji on your phone. So if you ever just want to make me feel good, just send that to me. I love them. I love them so much.
Favorite animal?
They're up there. No, my favorite animal, of course, is alligator.
I know.
/ crocodile.
Just check it in.
Yeah. They're living dinosaurs. They're awesome. Sea turtles are pretty high up there too. But I think I'd give it to orangutans over sea turtles. I've always loved them. I think it's because of seeing those Tang commercials when we were kids, Saturday morning cartoons. Tang, the juice? Yeah. Wasn't it called Tang?
Or the animals?
No. It was like an orange juice. And the it was like it was an orangutan that was the guy.
Yeah. But let me look it up.
You looked at me like I said something that I shouldn't have said.
I'm saying Tang juice, but no orangutans.
What?
Just Tang.
Huh. Okay, well, let's talk about...
Oh, there it is.
Okay, that's what I thought. Remember the craze of
there's one... You can get this on eBay, a drink pouch. There's an orangutan and a kangaroo sack pouch. So...
Wow.
You want me to buy that for you? Just let me know.
It's just a...
$14.99.
It's just a, stuffed animal?
It's a print. No, it's a print. We can hang on our wall.
Wait, let me see it.
Don't click on it.
No, I won't, but I do want to get a look at it. Oh. That's funny. I'd love to get some orangutan, stuffed animals for Talia, though, so that I can play with them.
But really for you? Wink, wink.
So, let's go back to torturing Caesar.
Yes.
Monkeys are just great.
And they're doing it to try to get him to talk.
Yeah, and so he says, have mercy.
Yeah. I do like the governor's reaction when he does talk. He shoots up from his chair and is like, holy crap.
Well, he's like, this is the ape. We found him.
Yeah.
We can. So I do love this because they're obviously the bad guys, but he's like, the earth gets destroyed and we get taken over by apes.
It is like the last movie where you are the quote unquote bad guy, which he is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed several apes.
Yeah.
And but his whole motive is to save the human race and save the world as he knows it. So,
well, and I love a good, because I always feel like these types of stories, when you know the impending disaster coming, it makes me think, is the impending disaster happen because of the way they're reacting? And I think that's usually the answer.
Yep.
And it's like, is the future changeable? We don't know. But if he decides to be like, no, wait, let's work with this ape. Let's teach the other apes. Let's free all the apes. Do they not take over? And do they live in harmony?
Yeah. Don't give them a reason to take over, basically.
But then it is like, that's that militaristic view where it's like, if we just kill the weed, put the 409 on it, the weed will never come back, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. But maybe that's not the way to do it.
Or maybe the weed comes back tenfold, like Hydra.
Yeah, well, it's like those weeds we tried to get rid of. We keep trying to get rid of those weeds. I've done the Roundup thing. They're back in full force. So I'm not going to fight it anymore with 409. It doesn't work.
409? The disinfectant that we use in our house?
No, Roundup. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
Also, I think Roundup's like really bad for soil too. But anyway.
Let's keep talking about it.
So then they're like, okay, let's kill him. We have him now. Kill him. And so they do that. But as they're doing that, McDonald, he's going down to like the electrical panel because he's going to turn off the electricity. He thinks this is wrong. He does it just in time. And Caesar sees what's happening and that he's supposed to be electrocuted. So he fakes it. And the guy's like, without checking him at all, he's like, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then when his back is turned, Caesar attacks him and kills him, I believe.
Okay, I don't remember.
It's just wild watching a series that is not rated R, where like the main hero characters kill humans. It's just not something you would do in a PG-13 movie now, except for potentially these Planet of the Apes movies that we have yet to watch. I love it. And so then, this is the big like revolution breakout. Caesar like breaks out all of the apes and they start like coming down on the city. And now it's nightfall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And, it's not nightfall yet because they're like breaking into the panel. They're trying to take over everything, right?
What panel?
Like the control area. So I remember they
Not
broke
yet.
into
That's
that.
at the end.
That's at the end?
Yeah.
So he begins to lead the ape revolution. And we're seeing like all these apes coming up out into this city and all these guys in like riot gear. And this is where like the news footage kind of shooting and feel is. Sort of glad I didn't watch this movie around 2020.
Yeah.
Because
it's real intense.
It's intense. It's intense.
Meanwhile, the governor and people in that room, they're witnessing this happening like on screens and trying to control it from in their little protected room.
If we lose this battle, it will become a planet of apes.
Yes.
Love that.
And a lot of apes die.
Yeah. The riot, I love how it's at the standstill and the riot people are like, no.
Yeah.
No, but then the apes attacked.
Yep. And then eventually they make it inside that room that the governor's in.
Yeah.
Make their way in, not kidnap them, take them out.
And they're like killing the humans. I mean, I had this note and I've mentioned it throughout that this movie is brutal. And it is like not, it's rated G, but like it would probably be rated PG-13 like today. And it is just not how they make PG-13 movies today.
Not at all.
It's like a little more complex than like, well, but the good guy never hurts anybody.
Yeah.
Unless they like did something morally reprehensible right before they did it.
Right.
This is not that.
No.
It's so good. I love this series. I'm such an ape head now.
So what's the speech that Caesar gives? McDonald's. So they got the governor and.
Do you want me to look it up?
No. Caesar gives this big speech and he's like, apes have been put down for so long and we've been slaves for so long. Now it is our turn to take over. He says something to that effect. And basically he's going to
we'll rule with brutality.
Yeah, like kill the governor. We'll kill just as harshly, or we'll rule just as harshly as they've ruled us.
Yeah.
And they're about to kill the governor. And Lisa says no.
Yeah. She says the word no.
So she says no.
And like I said, I think that this works really well. Even though that the ending was that they kill the governor. And then the
original ending.
Yeah. And then so McDonald and him are going back and forth and talking.
Yeah.
And I think the governor also says when we hate you, we're hating the dark side of ourselves. There's an ape in every man from our ancestry, and we want to kill that beast.
Oh yeah, that was very interesting when he said that.
But then you have this big speech, and McDonald's like, how are you saying that you're going to rule better than we? I mean, we even know that in the future you don't. So how can you justify what you're doing? You're just going to enslave us like we did to you. How does this make things right? And McDonald, I think, morally is right. But what I just love about this and how this ending struck me is Caesar's like, okay, we don't have to be like them. We can take the high ground. We won't let them push us around anymore, but we won't make them slaves. But and I think it's because of the way they edited the movie, because they had to edit around his lips. It rang to me as not false. Like he kind of believes.
And hollow?
It rang to me as hollow, and it rang to me as like tomorrow he's going to be like, nah, we must kill them.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And it keeps cutting to McDonald, who is not, because the actor is not actually reacting to that side of the speech. It seems like he's still horrified, even though he's saying that. So I think that this ending kind of rules so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did, in between half of this episode, we did watch Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And in hindsight, like, I think it is better that the ending doesn't end with them just like murdering the governor.
Yeah.
For a little more cohesion. Although they may have written that movie a little differently had it ended that way. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking about the speech the whole time and everything, but McDowell is like...
McDonald? Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell. Like,
Caesar.
His acting through this it's crazy. I mean, he seems so like you wouldn't want to be around this guy on set. Like, he looks scary.
Mm-hmm.
He is working through this makeup. We kind of blaze through the whole revolution here, because it is like the last like 20, 30 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
But is there anything in particular that we missed?
Gosh, Gilmore scared me.
I know it kind of felt like
he's
a human
rising
just
up.
walked in. Yeah, he's saying no right now. But talk about it while I shut this door. Talk about anything while I shut this door, so I don't have to edit.
Yeah,
Come on, please.
I was trying not to fall asleep during this time, so it was really intense and everything. But I was also trying not to fall asleep, so some of the impact did go over my head a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I was honest at the beginning of the podcast.
You were. And you didn't like fall asleep. You probably just kind of how there's a scene that we'll talk about next week that I was kind of like, huh? Was I watching a movie for the last 5 minutes? But I was. Yeah, I mean, this...
So you think this is the best one so far?
I think this one is better than the first movie.
Okay.
And the first movie is like you said, you were kind of like, well, is it also because of the first movie? I think you could watch this movie in a vacuum and it works. Like, I think this movie is just a better movie. And I think that you could watch it without having seen the first one and get just as much out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think the first one's better, but yeah.
You do think it's better, the first one?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's great and fine. I just think, like, this movie's
No, we're fighting about this.
No. The movie is so sure of what it is and what it's doing in a way that the first movie... the first movie's pretty sure of what it is, too.
Yeah, Micah. It's a pretty locked-in premise.
Yeah,
That's kind of the gold of this whole series so far that I have said a couple times.
I mean, this series is rocking my socks so hard. And this, knowing, again, that Caesar is apparently in the newer movies and played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
And I remember people saying... Now, this was more nerdy people, but I remember people saying, like, it's a shame that they don't do like acting noms for like motion capture, because Andy Serkis is doing unbelievable work in these movies. And maybe that's someone who's just, obsessed with Planet of the Apes, but we're turning into those people. So I'm really excited to see him. I don't know how he could top Roddy McDowell's performance in this movie, because this is like some of the best like makeup acting I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Easy.
I mean, he's making Doug Liman look like a schlub.
Who's that?
Not Lyman, Doug Jones.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not really. Nobody could make that man look like a schlub. But the revolution happens. The apes are going to take over.
What will happen in the next movie?
Yeah, do we have anything else? I just feel like we just blew through the biggest part of the movie so fast.
Well, there's a lot of action,
Yeah. It's really good.
I hope people are watching.
Yeah, I mean...
Worth a rent.
Worth a buy.
Yeah.
I wish we would have bought it. What was I thinking? Yeah. So, okay. Well, then
Well, just just press pause or go to your next podcast. I don't know. Have a good day.
Well, thanks for listening. Next week we were gonna watch. We're gonna
cover Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, and then we're on Patreon. We did T2 Train Spotting to finish that up. So thank you for listening. Please review the podcast on Apple if you have not already done so. We're just stuck. We're just stuck on the
just
that
an
small
emoji of
amount
a
of
banana.
reviews.
Let us know that you're enjoying, or that, or both, that you're enjoying the series.
Yeah, but thank you for listening, and do
no